Hi and welcome to your prenatal yoga class designed to help with bloating, especially that kind of painful, uncomfortable bloating that we often feel during pregnancy. Now, I use this particular sequence in my own daily practice. I've experienced bloating quite a bit during pregnancy, especially during the first and second trimester. Not so much heading into the third, but everyone's completely different. Now, it's really important to say that if there's any of these poses make you feel uncomfortable or they just don't feel good to do, just don't do them. While we're doing the pose, if you're not doing them, then you might just simply sit comfortably for a while in a comfortable seat, or you might go back to a previous pose that we had practiced that felt okay to do, and then join back in when we move on to the next pose. So we're going to begin in a comfortable seat and just take a few moments just to ground down and settle into our practice. So I'd like you to sit up nice and tall. I have a cushion underneath my sit bones, so feel free to grab a cushion, a pillow, maybe a blanket. Sit up nice and tall, close the eyes, take a big breath into belly. And that belly might be feeling extra tight at the moment if you're feeling discomfort from bloating. So just breathing at a force that is comfortable for you. But as much as you can, just continuing to breathe in and out of the nostrils. Let your awareness drift inwards. Maybe let it rest around the navel, just practicing breathing into belly. Couple more breaths here. And go ahead and open the eyes. All right, bring the hands to either side of the hips. Stay up on fingertips. Sit up nice and tall. On an inhale, float an arm up. And as you exhale, bend the opposite elbow, reach on out over to the other side. Now, because we're working with bloated bellies here, then it's probably a good idea to see if you can draw the top shoulder back, lift the chest up, and give yourself some room here, and then breathe big. Exhale it out. And then from here, we're just going to float from side to side, keeping the top shoulder pressing back, chest open. Lots of room for belly. Breathing into side body and just floating at your own pace here. One thing that I have noticed when I am doing this sequence to help with bloating is that we need to be patient and allow the body time to work through the bloating. So often I will do this sequence once, spending at least 8 breaths on each pose or on each side if it requires 2 sides. Have a little rest, see how it feels within the belly, see if the bloating has shifted, and then I might do the sequence again. Remembering that if there's any poses throughout that don't feel nice, we just don't do them. All right, go ahead and come back up to center. Bring your hands on your knees, just lightly cupping over the knees. Now, as you inhale, I want you to press the chest forward, lift the chin up. And then as you exhale, I want you to round through the upper back, belly draws in, chin comes to chest. So it's almost like a seated cat-cow, if you can imagine. Inhale, shoulders draw back, shoulder blades draw in towards each other. And then exhale, round through the upper back. Feel the shoulder blades separate. In your own time, just inhaling. And exhaling. Always mindful to notice how this movement and breath is affecting the body, particularly around that area where you're feeling bloated or discomfort. Being gentle, not being in any rush, letting the breath do its magic. Let's take one more inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Take an inhale, float the arms up. And as you exhale, go ahead and just gently, mindfully twist to the left. Bring your right hand to left knee and your left hand out behind you. Gaze just down towards the floor. Nice, easy gaze down. Inhale, drift back to center. And then we just exhale, twist in the other direction. Now these are really gentle twists. We don't do deep twists during pregnancy, and we're just going to float from side to side. Remembering that we're not in any rush. We're just enjoying slow, mindful breaths as we work on creating some energy within the body to relieve some of that discomfort from bloating. At the same time, we're giving our metabolisms a little kickstart as well, which might be quite handy, especially during pregnancy. Let's do one more each side. All right, go ahead and drift back to center. So for this next pose, we're going to kind of come onto our right side here. We're going to swing our feet out over to the left, so our feet are somewhere near our left hip bones or left sit bone. And we're going to bring the fingers together, interlace them, keep the palms open. Take an inhale, lift the arms up. Big stretch here, shoulders gliding down. And as we exhale, we're going to press the right ribs out and come into a little side body twist here. So you're going to predominantly feel this down that right hand side to begin with. Now if it's uncomfortable having the fingers interlaced, another option is to have the left hand down on the floor and then just kind of bend the elbow, and I like to kind of cup my head with the right hand. And let's just breathe into the spaces. This can feel particularly nice, especially if you've got that kind of abdominal bloated pain that we sometimes get. Especially kind of around that middle torso area. So we're going to keep on breathing big into belly. See if we can create some space in the discomfort. We've got one more breath here. Big breath in. Full exhale. Nice work. Gently come back. If your fingers are interlaced, then just gently let the arms come down. And then we're just going to swing the legs around the other side. So knees towards the left, heels towards the right. You need to adjust your cushion or your pillow so that you're feeling nice and centered. And once again, either fingers interlaced. Big inhale up. Exhale as you gently begin to come out over towards the right. You can stay here if you're comfortable, or you can release the right hand down, left hand on the side of the head. Big breaths into that left hand side of the body. Breathing into all the discomfort. Feeling that energy work its magic through the body. If any of these poses feel particularly good and we're not in them long enough because you can kind of feel something working, then please feel free to hit pause. Just be really careful not to overdo it, since we've got that relaxin surging through the body. We don't want to hurt ourselves. Let's take 3 more breaths on this side. Last breath in together. Big exhale. Nice work. Come back to center. Very carefully, just lean back. Extend the legs out nice and long. Give them a little shake out. We're going to come into another twist, starting by bending the right knee. And you might need to widen your stance to make room for baby. You might even have the right toes angling out a little way. Now you can bring the right arm to the inside of the right leg and just have your hand on the floor or on top of your foot, or you can take your peace fingers, hook them around your big toe. I want you to have your left toes pointing upwards and press down through the left thigh, so your left kneecap will lift here. And then left hand's just somewhere around by your left hip, just slightly behind. Take a big inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, just going to very gently twist and open towards the left. And we don't do deep twists during pregnancy, so this is only very subtle. Gaze can be looking down towards the floor. Come into your mindful breathing here. Big breaths into belly. Let the breath travel up from the belly into heart space. Fill up all the space within the torso. Find that discomfort. And then exhale it out. Three more breaths here. Remember just to hit pause if there's something that's feeling good. If you can feel something start to happen and you don't feel that you're overdoing it, then you might like to stay there for a little bit longer. Last breath in together. Full exhale. Nice work. Come back to center. Extend the leg. Give it a little shake out. And then we'll do the other side. So bend left knee. Taking hold of the foot or just placing your hand on the foot or on the floor beside the foot. Right hand out behind you. Right toes pointing up. Big inhale, lengthen. Exhale as you gently and mindfully twist open towards the right. Easy gaze down towards the floor and just focusing your attention on breathing into all those spaces. Where is the discomfort? Can you send a big surge of breath there? Helping your digestive system to kickstart, to move the bloating or discomfort. One more big breath in. full exhale. Nice work. Come back to center. Extend the legs. Give them a little shake out. And then go ahead and bring yourself onto hands and knees. Once you're on your hands and knees, go ahead and stack your hips over top of your knees and your shoulders over top of your wrists. We're going to move through our cat-cow, traditional cat-cow, torso circles, and then just any organic movement that feels nice. So to begin, as we inhale, tilt the tailbone up, dip the belly, and then lift the gaze so you're looking straight ahead. As you exhale, curl the tailbone under, arch through the back and bring your chin towards your chest. So inhale, roll from the tailbone through to the crown of the head into your cow pose. And as you exhale, roll from the tailbone through to the crown of the head into your cat pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Now what you might notice, especially if you have discomfort and feeling bloated at the moment as you roll through your cat-cow, is that it actually feels nicer to do one or the other. For me, quite often, if I've got pain associated with the bloating, then quite often it actually feels nicer for me just to kind of hang out in cow pose for a little bit. But it's also important to kind of do the counter pose to balance everything out so that we don't hurt the lower back. So spending maybe about 3 to 4 breaths in your cow or your cat, depending on where you are, and then just do the opposite to what you did just to balance everything out. Now from here, if it's feeling good, just kind of rolling through cat-cow, then you could stay doing this. Or you might begin to add torso circles, drawing circles with your belly button. This can feel quite nice and get everything in the digestive system working as well. Inhaling, exhaling. Breath is really important to get everything moving, to shift the discomfort. If you are doing your torso circles, just hitting pause at some stage and going in the opposite direction. You might decide that going in one direction feels better than the other, so you can modify as you need to. Really just paying attention as to whether this really feels nice, or if it doesn't feel nice, then just go back to cat-cow. Couple more. Let's do about 5 more rounds of breath, just moving in any way that feels good. Let's do the last 2 together. Big inhale. Full exhale. Last one. Big inhale. And exhale. Nice work. Bring the toes together. Shift the knees apart. Sit the heels back. And then walk the hand down in front of you. Release the forehead down to the floor. The forehead doesn't comfortably touch the floor, then you can just stack your fists one on top of the other, rest the forehead down. Or if that just feels better, then go ahead and do that. Breathe big into belly. Create some space there. No rush with the breath. Working with the body to shift the bloating. Two more breaths. Big breath in. Full exhale. One more time, big breath. Slow, mindful exhale out. Nice work. Come up onto hands and knees. Now this next pose before we begin to come up to standing is called upward facing dog. I wouldn't recommend this pose if you are new to yoga or if it just doesn't feel like it's safe for you to do. It is a pose that the belly can be a little bit vulnerable, so you have to exercise caution here and decide for yourself whether you actually want to come into the pose. An alternative to doing this could be practicing your cat-cows as we come into our upward facing dog, or you could come back into child's pose if that felt nice, or you could practice one of the twists, something like that. I will give you a visual if you're not sure what upward facing dog is, but we're going to begin with the hips stacked over top of the knees, shoulders stacked over top of the wrists. And then we're just very simply going to begin to press the hips down so that we come down. The thighs are just kind of hovering, and we're using the strength in our hands and our arms to keep ourselves lifted. So we want to keep the chest and the chin lifted here. This is just quite a nice stretch through the belly. I don't spend too long here. I usually do about 3 breaths max and then move into child's pose just to counter the back bend. So one more breath if you are here. And then slow exhale. You're going to press the hands into the mat, lift the hips, and then rock back into child's pose just for a moment. Big breaths in and out. Beautiful. Let's come up onto hands and knees. So this is another pose where, depending on the stage of your pregnancy, particularly in the first and third trimester, you might not feel so comfortable being in downward facing dog, or even the second trimester, especially if you've had any kind of acid reflux or anything like that. So just judging for yourself how your body might feel. And if this doesn't feel comfortable, just come back down into your child's pose. Practice another pose that felt nice while we're in our downward facing dog. If you are coming into downward facing dog, spread your fingers nice and wide. Actively press down through the hands so that you're creating some power in the palm of your hands. Tuck your toes under. Take a big inhale, lift the hips, press the sit bones back. And because we need room for belly, I like to walk my feet out so that they're slightly wider than a hip width apart. And then even the hands as well. It's nice to have some room. And you can pedal the heels up and down if you like. This is just a really nice pose to kind of shift everything around. So we're breathing big into belly. Exhaling fully. Feeling that inhale roll up from the belly into heart space. The chest expands. Whole torso. Exhaling breath out. Big inhale. Full exhale. We've got 4 more breaths here. We might begin to feel some things working within the body at this stage. Perfect, that's exactly what's meant to happen. So let any noises exit the body as they need to. Two more breaths. Last breath in together. Big breath into belly. Full exhale. Nice work. Mindfully come down onto knees. Sit back on the heels for a moment. Close the eyes. Just sit nice and tall, just allowing everything to settle. Blink open the eyes. Go ahead and come up to a standing position so we can practice our triangle pose. So turn so that you're sideways on your mat. Take a nice wide step out sideways. Width of the feet is about, if you were to bring your hands up to shoulder height, your wrists would be in line with your ankles or thereabouts. Might not be quite even, but that just gives you an indication of how wide we want our feet to be. So we're going to turn the right toes, mind you, out towards the short side of the mat. I'm going to keep the torso stacked nice and even over the hips. Take an inhale, float the arms up. As you exhale, pivot the hips to the left, and then we're going to reach through the right hand and slowly lower the right hand down and lift the left arm up. Now, if you have a block, you could put your hand on top of your block. I want you to focus here on keeping the spine really nice and long and seeing if you can spiral the ribs up towards the sky. Press the top shoulder back. Look for some space. You might even lift the kneecaps. Adjust your gaze so that your neck is comfortable. And breathe into the belly. Triangle pose for me is one of these poses that when I'm feeling bloated, hits all the right spots. So hopefully it feels the same for you. Pausing here. Just letting the breath and the shape of our body do its magic. Couple more breaths. All right, soften that right knee. Gently press yourself up. Bring the feet to parallel and we'll do the other side. So turning the left toes out. Standing nice and tall. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, pivot the hips to the right. Reach. Keep the torso nice and long. Slowly lower. Left hand down. Right arm lift. Remember, we want to try and keep the spine nice and long. We want to see if we can spiral the ribs up towards the sky and just gently encourage that top shoulder back. Breathe into the belly. Adjust your gaze. You might begin to notice sensations around the belly and digestive area, things starting to gurgle. Just breathing big. 2 more breaths. Big inhale. Full exhale. Last breath. Big inhale. And exhale. Nice work. All right. Bend into that left knee. Help yourself up. And then go ahead and shuffle the feet back together. Bring the toes together. Have a little bit of space between the heels for support and stability. And then we want to shift the weight evenly on the feet. So you might rock backwards and forwards a little bit. And then go ahead and lift the kneecaps just gently. Lengthen tailbone down. So you'll feel the front hips lift up. And then lengthen the spine. Roll the shoulders up. Glide them down the back as the back of the neck lengthens. So we're standing nice and tall in our mountain pose. Take some nice deep breaths into belly. You might notice some shifts in discomfort. You might just feel a little bit relieved. Just observing. And we have one more pose before we finish our practice. So bring your right hand to your hip, just loosely pressed onto your hip. Take an inhale, palm up. As you inhale, lift the arm up. And as you exhale, you're going to press into your right hip out towards the left as you bring your left arm over towards the right. Pause here. Now go ahead and see if you can draw the right hip and shoulder forward, left hip and shoulder back. So we keep nice and open. Lots of space. One more breath. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So come back to center. Left hand, left hip. Big inhale. Turn the palm to face up as your arm rises. Exhale as you press into the left hip. Once again, this time we want to just gently encourage left hip, left shoulder forward, right hip, right shoulder back. Breathe into all the space. Couple more breaths here. Last breath in together. Big inhale. Full exhale. Nice work. Come back up to center. Maybe roll the shoulders. And then go ahead and come back down into your comfortable seat. So once you're in your comfortable seat, we're just going to finish with a little bit of mindful noticing, just to see whether any of the discomfort has shifted. You might decide from your noticing that you might do this sequence again in about 20 minutes time, or you might pick a favorite pose that felt really good, that didn't feel too intense or like you were overdoing it, and you might practice another 8 breaths doing that pose, or you might just simply finish and then come back again once you feel ready. So close the eyes, sit up nice and tall as we do. Weight back into sit bones, spine grows tall, shoulders roll up, shoulders glide down, back of the neck lengthens, chin tucks slightly. Big breath into belly. As you continue to breathe in and out of the nostrils, just let your awareness shift down to the area of the belly where you're feeling bloated. Notice if there's been any shift in the discomfort. Notice if it feels like it's been relieved a little. No need to judge or analyze, just notice. If you can still feel any discomfort there, begin to breathe into that space. We'll finish our practice today with 3 exhales through the mouth. So go ahead and exhale fully. Take a big breath into belly. Feel the breath rise up into the chest. Open the mouth, exhale. Beautiful. And again, big inhale. One last time. Biggest breath in. Gently open the eyes. Namaste. Well done.